Welcome inside episode 481 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba, alongside Brandon Piller out on Vancouver Island. And even after sleeping on it, I'm so rattled that Aaron Dell is overshadowing a 5-0 shutout win for the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, it's brutal, Ross, especially because we should be celebrating this win. Tyler Ennis, the best to ever lace him up, gets a hat trick, his first goal since opening night. Matt Murray gets a shutout. The Senators get a revenge game over the Sabres after losing to them last week. But instead, we're just thinking deeply about how Drake Batherson will be injured long-term, and the kid's going to miss his first NHL All-Star game. Just brutal.
At the hands of a minor leaguer. With a very minor league move. We'll get into the injury, how it happened, the fallout, and who will step up into a top 6 role. All that plus a full game recap, of course. This is the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.
Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Fired up on a Wednesday. It's January 26th. And Pilsy, before we get to all that, I want to pick up exactly where the Senators left off last night. A great tradition. They're passing around the bike helmet, the glasses after each win. And how awesome was it to see Austin Watson singled out on his 3rd year of sobriety?
Yeah, that's just incredible. And you got to tip your hat to Timmy being aware of that and knowing that that's such a big moment for Austin Watson and his family, I'm sure. So the boys, like, this team really feels like a team. Now, let's throw the Pierre Dorion, we are a team here, but legit, because this is they all kind of gather around each other. They all pick each other up. They're all supporting each other. And the chemistry just looks incredible. I mean, anytime you're coming off a 5-0 win, that statement rings true. So definitely big shout out to Austin Watson and congrats on 3 years sobriety.
Absolutely. On a day that, well, one corporation really likes to shine a light on mental health, and it is an important discussion. We talked about it yesterday with Nick Paul, Points by Paul, the initiative where he's donating for each goal or point, I believe it is, assist as well. For the Royal Ottawa Mental Health Institute, which is a great organization that has the backing of Daniel Alfredson over the years. And you know that he's not going to put himself in line with an organization that doesn't deserve it. So we really are appreciative of Points by Paul and the Greater Mental Health Initiative. You know, Austin Watson was a guy who struggled for a long time. So great to see Waddy get recognized. And he was the most fired up Ottawa Senator, I think, when this whole Drake Batherson injury occurred. Because, okay, let's get right to the play, and then we'll talk about the fallout and how Austin Watson, Brady Tkachuk came up and responded a little bit. But I also want to ask you, and everyone listening on YouTube, write in the comments, do you think the Senators responded the right way? Could it have been more impactful? But the score at the end of the game certainly did describe that. Take us through what you saw in the lead up and throughout that play.
The first goal we're going through here?
No, the play that injured Drake Batherson. We'll get into the scoring afterwards. This is just the big topic. It's unfortunate that it overshadows the victory, but when your best player, hands down best player this year, is out long-term, that's got to be the lead.
Your all-star. Yeah, I thought we were doing a positivity sandwich here, Ross, starting positive, going negative, then positive. But we're going to do, we're going to hit the main story here, that's for sure. And look,
it's a club sandwich.
It's club sandwich. All right. I'm not even part of the club. That's the joke. But the real issue here is, look, we're a goalie-friendly show, and we try to give support and, give a little bit of a longer leash for goalies. Having said that, there is no way we can accept what Aaron Dell did there, and for numbers of reasons. Like, let's just start this off right away. Initially, you see that play, and you're like, okay, sometimes there's collisions back there. Maybe it was an accident, right? Let's see if this guy's got a track record of doing anything like this. Unbelievable when you start digging through the tapes, and he fully has cross-checked Mark Stone, and Stone went at him right away because that was an absolute dirty play. And then just recently,
2 weeks ago,
up against Nashville, he's out at the half wall throwing hits. Like, there's not, like, I don't even understand how, as a goalie, you get to that point. And then with Drake Batherson here, he throws a hit when Batherson doesn't have the puck. He's not expecting a goalie to throw a hit. And he ends up putting Batherson in a compromised position, and his knee smashes into the boards pretty brutally there. And here's the thing, and Mike Johnson talked about it on the broadcast. The thing that really pisses me off about this is goalies are given a privilege and they are protected. So the trapezoid is put in so that goalies aren't messing around playing the puck and it just results in sloppy play usually, but also so that they can say, all right, there's a trapezoid here, you can play the puck here, and you're protected to a certain extent, right? You're responsible for your own choices, but a player can't just run you if you have the puck here. Okay,
Right.
but it's a two-way street. Since the goalies are being given that protection, that means players are like, okay, I can't hit him because, and in turn, he can't hit me. So I'm not even going to think that's a part of the equation. So Drake Batherson is flying in there, going for the puck, being like, I can whiz by Aaron Dell, and he can't touch me. But Aaron Dell decides to throw that shoulder, and it catches Drake unexpected, too much speed, and he goes right into the boards. And for Aaron Dell after to say, I was just trying to make some space for my teammates, that's such bullshit. You weren't trying to make space. He throws the shoulder. So for Aaron Dell to try to get away with that is just completely unacceptable, and we can be a goalie-friendly show, but that's a guy that I've lost all respect for, and look, he's a fifth-string goalie that just got pumped 5-0. So that's all we need to say there.
Yeah, it really is. And it was unfortunate. Maybe he should have just said, I don't know how to play the position very well, because that would have been more of you could have gone back and seen more examples of that when you look at Alex Formanton's goal last night, where Tim Stützle just put him so far out of position. He had his back to the puck. So maybe he should have just said, I don't really know what I'm doing in the crease. And I would have probably believed him with that .892 career save percentage. His season save percentage went up last night, and he let in 5 goals. So, I mean, you're looking at that's the kind of quality goalie that you have. So I guess he's trying to make an impact on the game. But when I saw he did the exact same thing to Mark Stone, it is such a dirty play. And it didn't have to be. That type of play happens maybe 30 times a game, where the defenseman's going back to pick up the puck and the forechecker, he wasn't even going to get the puck. He wasn't even going to get a scoring chance. Yeah. All he was trying to do was what you're taught as a forechecker is just put pressure on the puck there. It was absolutely disgusting. And if it had been a situation where Drake's trying to take a real tight turn to get to the puck quicker, no, this was an obvious attempt at putting a wing out and trying to throw him, and Drake goes in, and he's lucky it's not a knee injury. DJ Smith after the game said it's an ankle sprain. Okay. Well, we don't know sprain. It's an ankle injury right now. Significant amount of time. He clearly stated he will not be going to the All-Star game, which is February 5th. So he's already out for all of next week. Ottawa's got 4 games during this span. I guess you could say the only saving grace, silver lining, whatever you want to call it, and I struggle even saying this because it was such a dirty play that just didn't have to happen, is that with this compressed schedule, the All-Star break is the only week off that Ottawa has. So at least he's going to be able to use that time in his recovery as well, because they need him. They really need him. We were talking yesterday. We had a poll up, Pilsy, about which line needs him more of the top 2 lines, and now they're going to have to find somebody to fill that void. But stick taps to the 10 forwards, because we haven't even talked about Dylan Gambrell's injury. The 10 forwards that played the second and third period certainly did their best, and that's where the retribution, we can get into that now, because do you think it becomes a little bit more difficult to do? Well, A, with a goalie, but B, knowing you're already down to 10 forwards. If the ref throws out another guy, all of a sudden you're even more shorthanded.
Yeah, and I mean, to tack a third point on there, Ross, you're already winning this game. Like, you're already up. What was the score at that point? 3-0?
3-0, I do believe.
Yeah, so, like, again, you don't want to just get into penalty trouble and then let this game slip away. Now, not only do you have to deal with all those injuries, penalties, possible suspensions, but you've now lost the game too. So you've kind of done it all in vain, right? So, and I think when you're looking at a goalie, like DJ Smith kind of talked about in the post presser, like, what are you going to do? Run the goalie and then you're going to get suspended for sure. And like you talked about, Ross, like the Aaron Dell, this guy's a scrub. Like, who cares if you're the Senators? Like, oh, nice. Now the Buffalo Sabres are going to be without their fifth string goalie that has absolute garbage stats. Like, that doesn't do you good. Like, that doesn't help Drake. That doesn't help your team. Sure, you feel a little revenge there, but it just doesn't make sense to do that. And Aaron Dell's not going to stick up for himself. We talked about it in the postcast when Austin Watson kind of got in there gritty. Well, Aaron Dell does the old, when it's commercial break and the goalies do the swerve by the corner. Yeah, Aaron Dell's doing that, but he's not working on his edges. He's working on getting out of the way because he doesn't want to deal with anything. He's not taking responsibility for his actions there. And that's the thing. Like, what are you gonna do if you're Austin Watson or if you're Brady Tkachuk? And the Sabres, like, I don't really blame them for being like, hey, I don't want one of us to stand up and get our ass kicked just because Aaron Dell pulled a Bush League move. Like, we don't feel we need to do that. That's not a part of what we're doing. Now, maybe if it's like a long-term like starter, like a Sabres guy, then you're like, okay,
Ryan Miller,
sure, yeah, something like that. Yeah, then you're like, okay, like, we got
their last good goalie. I had to go back like 8 years.
Yeah, honestly, it's you got to go back a while, and that's why they got Aaron Dell in here. But yeah, that's the thing. I don't, for fans that are Sens fans that are like, oh man, like they should have done more to stick up for Drake. I'm not really sure there's much more they could do because Aaron Dell's not going to fight. Hurting Aaron Dell doesn't do you any good, and I don't think any of those Sabres players were willing to take the brunt of that. So I think the Sens did what they had to do, and they come away with a 5-0 victory. So sure, the injuries sting, but you get the last laugh.
You can certainly tell that Ottawa came out in the second period with an axe to grind, though. I mean, right after it happened, the first shift after, Brady Tkachuk, without going over the line, just went right up to him, and you could tell he was saying, like, that's Bush League. We're going to be at you all night, all right? Like, get ready. It's coming. And Dell was, like, laughing at him. How about Dell after the game saying, I haven't seen the clip yet, so I don't know how to respond. Like, you weren't there, man. You did it. What do you mean see the clip?
And like you haven't done it before.
What do you mean see the clip? Get the hell out of here with that.
That's garbage. The thing. That's a premeditated move. That's 100%. Why I have the issue. Like, contact happens there. And sometimes as a goalie, Ross, and you know this, sometimes you're put in a bad position and you got to stand your ground. There's a difference between standing your ground and standing tall and being like, okay, there's going to be contact here. I'm not just going to let him knock me over. I'm going to make sure I'm solid here. He throws the wing out. So any comments or anything he tries to do to backtrack is absolute garbage, and I won't accept any of that.
Couldn't agree more. And the fallout is the Sens are without their top point scorer for an extended period of time. Of course, we'll let you know when we find out more information on Drake Batherson. The Ottawa Senators are off today. They're back on the ice tomorrow morning for a morning skate ahead of a date with the Carolina Hurricanes on home ice. If you missed any of the postcast or Locked On Senators, you can find us on YouTube. We appreciate if everyone would go there and subscribe to our channel. We're working on getting to 1,500 subscribers. That'll be a great milestone, and we appreciate all the support, everyone active in the postcast chat. Almost 300 comments last night, which was a great thing to see. People fired up for a multitude of reasons, a lot of which, though, centered around highlight reel goal after highlight reel goal. Pillsy, we just got 15 minutes in. We haven't even gotten to Matt Murray or the offensive explosion that we saw last night. Before we get to that, however, Pillsy, you've got a word from our friends at Built Bar.
Yeah, and hey, one way to make sure you're scoring all those goals so that you're fueled up properly to score all those goals. And if you got 2 injuries and you got to play a little more ice time, you need some more juice, hey, hit the Built Bars, and you can do that too. Go to BuiltBar.com, guys. The website is awesome. They have so many good products, so many amazing flavors to choose from, and it is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. That's why I love it. I've tried other protein bars, and they're hard. They got a weird tinge to them. The chocolate doesn't taste good. The flavors are all wacky, and you don't even want to try any of them. Not Built Bar. You want to try all Built Bar's flavors. So what I recommend, guys, go to Built.com and get a mixed box of flavors. You're going to get a whole bunch of different amazing flavors. The texture is soft, easy to chew. All the bars are covered in 100% chocolate. And when you order your mixed box, use our promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your next order. That's the sweetest part of the deal. Since you're a loyal listener, you know we're going to hook you guys up and save you a couple shekels. So go to Built.com. Use promo code LOCK15, get a mix box, and you're going to get 15% off your next order. It's Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar.
Reminder that you can advertise with the Locked On Senators podcast. We're still looking for some with the postcast as well. Hit us up on Twitter, on Instagram, or email me. The contact is in our YouTube bio. You know we go to battle for not only the people who have been on this show, but our sponsors as well. So hit us up if you're interested in partnering with the Locked On Senators podcast, a team and a show on the rise, because the Ottawa Senators don't look now, Pilsy, but in the postcast era, they're 9-6-1. I loved Reese's comment last night when I put that out. He said, God bless you for looking at a team that was 4-14-1 and saying, these guys deserve to have a show after every game. So
we're already doing a daily pod and this team's just garbage. And we're like, you know what we need to do? We need to talk about this more.
I mean, there is so much to get into. 9-5-1 since the end of that brutal November that actually ended in December against the Vancouver Canucks on December 1st. That was the first postcast, and then 9 wins in their next 15 games. So with that win last night, the Senators jumped ahead of the Seattle Kraken. I jumped ahead of the Buffalo Sabres in terms of point percentage. And I know it's like celebrating from 4th place at the Olympics. You're not even close to the podium and all that. But it does feel nice to have some breathing room between yourself and the bottom of the standings, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially when you know you got a compact schedule and you've got now injuries. Like we haven't even got to Dylan Gambrell, also an injury there. Now, a much more minor injury than Drake, thankfully, but that's another guy. I just highlighted him in his face-off success recently, and he's a stout defender. Like he's a shutdown center. So it's tough to lose a guy like him. And Ross, we got to get into that play too, because I guess we can kind of start chronologically now. Because
he only played 3 minutes, Pilsy. That was right away.
Exactly. Yeah. So Jeff Skinner is on a breakaway. Matt Murray makes the save, and then the rebound pops out. But on the other side of the play, Gambrell, all the way on the other side of the ice, smashed into the boards and was injured. And the refs saw that, but they were like, okay, Skinner's on a full breakaway here. We have to allow him the opportunity to get that shot off. And they do. And then as soon as Matt Murray makes the save, they blow the whistle, and it was like there couldn't have been more than a second after that Skinner fires that rebound in, and he's so confused, like what's the call here? And then he looks down the ice, and there's an injured player. But that was if you don't believe in hockey gods, then now you do, because the Sens got burned against the Buffalo Sabres for a non-whistle in that scrum, if you remember, and then the Sabres score on a breakaway goal. But this time, it's the Senators get the whistle luck with an early whistle that negates Jeff Skinner's opening goal. So that's a little bit of sweet justice there.
And then, well, first, you never want to see a player get injured. And with Dylan Gambrell, it sounds like he'll miss about a week. I would expect him back after the All-Star break would be my guess, because Ottawa's final game is on Tuesday, February 1st. On Long Island, as I'm pulling up the schedule here, if you're looking at the next 4 Senators games, February 1st, and then they're off until, I want to say, the 8th. They're off until the 7th when they take on the New Jersey Devils on home ice. So I kind of have that circled for Dylan Gambrell to make his return. But Jeff Skinner doesn't score on that breakaway, and that leaves the opportunity for Tyler Ennis to finish off. This has to be one of the prettier goals of the season. Adam Gaudette on the assists. A little backhand. That's just how you draw it up. Made the defender look silly.
Oh, yeah. And this is what I was talking about. Like, yes, I know Adam Gaudette is a liability defensively, but man, he's got some tricks up his sleeve when it comes to offensively. Yeah, no, Hobie Baker. No one can take that away from him. But the chemistry that him and Ennis have kind of formed here. And then Tierney, I'll throw him in on there too. He gets an assist later on. So I think that those two have been a real nice pair. And we'll get to where Ennis will slot in the lineup later. So they might not be a pair for much longer. But that play by Gaudette to just really figure out a way to get around that defender, create space, and then the backhand pass, making it all the way across the ice to Tyler Ennis, like, that was such a good play, and I was happy to see we need goal support from the bottom 6, and we got some.
Absolutely, and when the Senators score first, 10-5-1. So clearly it goes the other way, whereas they have 3 wins in 20 games when the opponent scores first. Now, that lead was only won for about a minute because right after it was Drake Batherson on a power play, unassisted. I don't know how that's an unassisted goal, would be my first question, because didn't Tim Stützle shoot it?
But I think Samuelson ends up knocking it in. So then it just goes to the last
Oh,
player touched it. And Stützle did shoot it, but it hit Batherson on the way there.
and then hit Samuelson.
Yeah.
All right. The old
But that was one hell of a Timmy shot. I think that hit 2 posts, like post crossbar. So that's you love to hear that noise, but not when it doesn't go in the net if you're the shooter.
So you're telling me it hit everything except the goalie. Shocker
Yeah.
when it's Aaron Dell in net. Shocker.
Exactly. Yeah.
Real
love it.
surprise.
Hey, we can pile on Aaron Dell all day long. I'm here for it.
Sure. All right. Well, let's continue because it was a minute and 40
we got a
seconds
lot more
after
piling on to do.
that Tyler Ennis gets his second goal of the game. This one primarily assisted. Sorry, the first one, Pilsy, was secondary assist was Josh Brown, who had 2 assists, career high. 2 assists for Josh Brown. This one was Gaudette and Tierney on the assist. Another great goal from Tyler Ennis. And man, he's starting to feel it. When that guy's buzzing offensively, he certainly is noticeable out on the ice. And if you're keeping track at home, that was 3 goals on 9 shots for Aaron Dell. You'd think maybe at that point he should be more focused on stopping the puck than stopping forecheckers on nothing plays. But alas, after it's 3-0, that grease bag does his thing on Drake Batherson. We should mention, just coming across the wire right now, Aaron Dell will have a hearing today with the Department of Player Safety. My hope is that he's punished by having to play against Ottawa on February 17th. That's the best revenge they could get, not only for trying to get after him and that sort of thing, but it gives you a better chance to win when you have a terrible goalie in net. Now, the second period, we already touched on this, but this was a game, and Gord Miller said it on the call with TSN. And just before we get off of Aaron Dell for now, Mike Johnson, stick taps to him. He did not let that go throughout the second and third period. He says Bush League, and hey, it certainly was. This wasn't Bush League, though. Whoo-wee, Tim Stützle and Alex Formenton. We've got a second dynamic duo forming in Ottawa with those 2 guys. What'd you see on their fast break?
Well, and what I've loved about what the Senators did in this game, Ross, is they were really effective at the give and go. Like normally you might just one player passes it off to the other and then they wait till they're right at the crease to do another cross ice pass. But the Senators were doing a good job of keeping the Sabres defenders on their toes, like quick back and forth, back and forth. You never know who's going to end up finishing the play. And I think that's what happens to Aaron Dell. He's like, okay, there's no way Stützle can get this over, so I'm just going to fully cheat to the shot. But check the game notes, bud. Tim Stützle has done a couple passes, some nice passes to find guys wide open before. So Tim Stützle, he finds Alex Formenton wide open. And yeah, you mentioned it earlier, like Aaron Dell he's not even in the same stratosphere as his crease for that one. That's one of the easiest goals Alex Formenton will score all year.
I mean, go to Send Central on Twitter. I tweeted out how to goalie 101. And just if you're an aspiring goalie, not to go full Don Cherry, but hey, all you young goalies out there, listen up. Hey, you want to be a pro? Do the opposite of what Aaron Dell does. And I think you might have the best chance. Kind of like when you do parlays opposite of Pilsy, you might have a chance to win, as we tell you about our friends at betonline.ag, the only sportsbook we trust here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's betonline.ag. I was in the action last night. Brady Tkachuk, the over-under was set at 2.5 shots on goal. He tied a franchise record with 12 shots on goal for Brady Tkachuk. So I cashed cha-ching at betonline.ag. So get into the action, and if you need a little help when you sign up, promo code Locked On, it gets you a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So put in $100. Bingo, bango, bongo. That's 50 free play dollars right there for you, and you can bet on Brady to shoot pucks on net. That's all the kid does. So go to betonline.ag, promo code Locked On, 50% welcome bonus. Get off the sidelines, get into the action, and use the promo code. Why wouldn't you? Locked On for a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. It's BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. All right, Pillsy. So it's 4-0 at that point, and thank God Buffalo just left Aaron Dell to rot in the crease, because to add insult to injury, they score the hat trick goal. Tyler Ennis with 30 seconds left, no empty net to speak of. I mean, it's 4-0. Why would you? But you often see that in the third period, right? 2 goals, the empty net, and they're just trying to feed the guy with 2 tucks. This time, there may as well not have been a goalie in there, because that was the old Minor Adam AAA with the Easton Synergy, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And hey, if we're still jumping on Aaron Dell here, it would have been better for the Sabres to get an extra attacker, probably better chances of not letting Tyler Ennis get that goal, because he almost got it earlier, Ross, with a wicked wrist shot off the crossbar. Yep. I thought that was going to be it. But, and this just goes to show, too, the boys support each other. Like, Ennis is sitting on 2 goals. He's getting out there, and the guys are setting him up. He gets a lot of time and space and just rips one right past Aaron Dell. A nice wrist shot, and Enzo, the best to ever lace him up, gets his second career hat trick. And it cannot be overstated that it's wild that he has not scored since opening night, because this guy's a water bug all over the ice, and he gets opportunities on the second power play unit, and he's been up and down the lineup too. He's chipping in with assists, that's for sure, but it's just crazy that he goes on such a goal drought, and then boom, 3 goals right there. And shout out Anton Forsberg sitting on the bench. Literally, there are no hats in the building, no fans. There's 1 hat in the building, and that one made it onto the ice. Forsberg makes Ennis sure that he knows that, hey, I got you. It's a hat trick. You're getting 1 hat on the ice for that.
The last time the Senators had a hat trick was also the last time they had a shutout victory. Yes. Sorry, that's actually not true. I think Matt Murray, didn't he have 1? Am I mistaken right here? I got to figure it out. No, he let in 1 goal against Calgary. No, the last shutout was against Tampa. The only other shutout this season for the Ottawa Senators. That game, was it that game? No, I think it was the game Batherson had his hat trick earlier in the year. Remember somebody threw a bra on the ice?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why I thought of that out of the blue, but we do have to mention, and coming up soon, we will finish the show discussing who will replace Drake Batherson in the Senators' top 6. They also have to replace Dylan Gambrell for the time being, but Matt Murray, 32 saves, and yes, it wasn't a 1-goal game, wasn't a 2-goal game, but still, for his confidence, that was a huge effort for him, never even giving the Sabres a sniff.
Yeah, Matt Murray had a great game, and yeah, it's quieted by all the noise, the hat trick, the injuries and stuff, but it can't be glossed over that was a great game by Matt Murray. We're seeing the confidence now, and look, hopefully we can see a healthy stretch here, because remember the last season at the end of the year when he was healthy, he was hot. So he's feeling it right now. Hopefully we can continue to see that from Matt Murray, and this team's going to need Matt Murray with all these injuries adding up. Like, they're going to need him to steal some games, because when you lose your top point scorer, the goaltending needs to tighten up. Next man up, and the goalies will have to do their part here.
Yes, they certainly will. There'll be probably some more Columbus-style games where you win 2-1 rather than 5-0 going forward. But you take care of the bad teams. That's what teams that are successful in the league, that's what they accomplish. And Ottawa had struggled this year against teams that were perceived to be below them in where they either are in their rebuild or just flat out bad teams. So you look at what they were able to do here and just taking care of it easy, no problem, except for a couple injuries. And you're looking and you're like, okay, now we've got a few tough tests, because 3 teams coming into town next. First, the Carolina Hurricanes, one of the top teams in the National Hockey League. They're not going to be an easy test. And then Anaheim beat the wheels off of Ottawa in their meeting in Anaheim. But that, again, was during November. So take that with a grain of salt, if you will. And then the Edmonton Oilers, we know the turmoil going up in Alberta right now. So hopefully they can get another Sensing here coming up. And then, again, they finish the All-Star, going into the All-Star break in New York against the Islanders, a team that's starting to put it together. We knew they would. They're too good to be at the bottom of the standings forever. Okay, Pillsy. So coming up in that game tomorrow, again, the Senators don't skate today. So we don't have anything to go off of. And it's probably best after such an emotional victory last night. Just take the day off. Go away. But with that being said, and I hate that we have to bring this up again. So JBD's out. Lassie Thompson's in. The guy's +4 last night.
Yeah,
Gets
huge
an
night for
assist,
Lassie.
plays 20 minutes, and he gets put on the taxi squad today to save $2,000.
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised right now, but come on. JVD is probably texting him like, I know how that feels, buddy. I know how that feels.
But at least JVD was on the road, so he got some per diem. But I don't
Yeah.
think Lassie's going to get that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
If he was the sixth defenseman coming up and playing 11 minutes, I might get it. But the guy who's played the second most minutes, he's deserving of an NHL salary. This guy earned it, shift in and shift out. He looks awesome, by the way. Like the way that we discounted him last year, and to be fair, he did not have a good season. But this guy has turned it up a notch. He is a legitimate top 4 prospect, I believe, in terms of potential, not maybe necessarily on the Sens prospect list, but he has top 4 potential on the back end for Ottawa.
Yeah, and I mean, he's from that 2019 draft, so he's got a little bit more, experience under him, and he's a little ahead of some of the other guys. So it's going to be interesting to see where Lassie ends up here. And I didn't notice a whole lot from him last game, Ross, but that's kind of the JBD effect too, right? Like, hey, you didn't notice any bad blunders. He was just out there. He's a +4. He gets an apple. So that's a successful night for Lassie Thompson.
Yeah, it certainly was. So hopefully we get to see more of that once he gets called back up from the taxi squad.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes. Okay. So we believe that he'll be alongside Thomas Chabot like he was last night. The decor, be shocked if it changes. And we need more stick taps for Nick Holden. Every time that I see this guy in the locker room, he's the exact type of veteran this team needs going forward. Played well with Artem Zub as well last night. Both those guys killed 6 minutes of penalties. The Sens PK. Yeah. 5 for 5 last night. That was awesome. The power play gets back on. We knew that needed to happen after a few games without a power play goal, and Matt Murray with a 32 save shutout. But the real question going into tomorrow is who replaces Drake Batherson in the top 6. We know it was Sanford up with Norris and Tkachuk, and then Stützle, Formanton, and who do you have there to start against the Hurricanes?
You gotta go with the hot hand in Tyler Ennis, no? Like this, and or do you want to keep him with Gaudette to keep that chemistry for some bottom 6 scoring?
I don't know if you heard Alfie there. He's all over the Gaudette, Tierney, and Ennis line. I think that you've been working so hard to find chemistry, find something that works in the bottom 6. Then you get it. You can't just break them up right away. I get where you're coming from. You need somebody up there, but our boy Igor Sokolov has 5 goals in his last 5 games with Belleville. I think that you just naturally give him the call up. He played 4 games already. Slide him in there. That's a young line, but the other 2 have shown that they can carry a line themselves right now. So I'm not even hesitating to put Igor right wing with those 2. So the way I'd line them up here, Sanford, Norris, Tkachuk, keep that line together. Sanford showed a little grit last night in the third period as well. I need more of that out of him. And then just throw Igor up there. Hey, if it doesn't work after 1 period, then Ennis, to me, definitely next man up. But that chemistry, I just don't want to disturb it after it took so long to find the right combination.
That's fair, and I can appreciate that. And I'm probably going unpopular opinion here, but I want Igor to stay down in Belleville because I want Belleville to start winning some games. And if he's hot in Belleville, let him stay hot in Belleville. Like now, I don't know, the Sens winning games is kind of a moot point at this point of the season, especially with these injuries piling up and the trade deadline coming up. They're probably going to lose. Like Igor's going to get opportunities after the trade deadline, I'm sure. So for now, I would leave him in Belleville. Let him continue to build that confidence. And I would give Ennis the little nod there, give him some time with Stützle and Formanton because he complements them nicely. That's a fast offensive line. So I think either way, you're looking good here because you bring Ennis up. Hopefully he clicks with that line, or you keep him down and he can try to chip in for more bottom 6 scoring there. So you got options here, which is good for the Sens, but man, it's so tough when this team starts to get rolling and you have to deal with big injuries like this. It's just brutal.
It's embarrassing the way it happened to Aaron Dell. What a guy. What a no consequence type player that should never be talked about on this show.
And that's the thing too, Ross, like sure the NHL's looking at him, but like who cares if he gets
I guess
suspended?
it hurts his wallet.
It
That's
hurts
the
his
one
wallet.
thing.
There you go. So that's about all you can look at there, and hopefully it hurts his wallet enough that he thinks twice about doing it. But for the Senators, I mean, that doesn't do you much
No.
here, and you're sitting with Drake on the sideline, and that stuff, and like it's just so crappy that he has an explosive season. He gets named to the All-Star game. Everyone's feeling like, okay, he is the All-Star guy. Like this wasn't, Ian Menendez mentioned this in his article. This wasn't a token. Every team has to send a guy, so we'll send Batherson.
Right.
No, he was a deserved NHL All-Star, and it gets ripped away from him from a scumbag move by Dell.
All right, quick conversation, and then I've got one more question for you as well. But who do you think replaces Drake Batherson? Because they've got to send somebody from the Ottawa Senators. Is it Josh Norris? Is it Brady Tkachuk? Is it Thomas Chabot? Or, I mean, late ad, Alex Formanton's been ridiculous for over a month.
Yeah, and hey, that would be good for some of the skills competition. The fastest skater, he can show McDavid how it's done.
Somewhere Guy Boucher is smiling right now.
Yeah, definitely. There it is. I'd have to take a look at the All-Star roster, Ross, because it depends what positions they're looking for here, right? I guess you're probably looking
for
a
forward,
winger,
right?
Yeah. So Thomas Chabot, that's probably not going to happen. I think you go Brady just because Brady's a guy that the All-Star game, let's be honest, it's about the kids and it's about the sponsors. Like,
yeah, and the ambassadors of the game type thing. So
exactly.
Brady will certainly fit the bill with that.
Exactly.
It'd be a second All-Star game, not like it matters again. It's just kind of a whatever game. It's the end of season All-Star nods, like the first and second team. That's what you put on your resume for the Hall of Fame, not like, oh yeah.
Talks, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Brady's the kind of guy where he can go to the All-Star game. He can have fun with the fans. He can goof it up. He can, he's a guy that represents the Ottawa Senators really well. So
yep.
I would say it's Brady Tkachuk that gets the nod, especially now he's the captain. He's literally the face of this franchise. Not that I got anything against Norris, but Brady would be my vote personally.
I'm going to put up a poll here at Send Central and ask you, the listener, who you think should replace Drake Batherson as the Sens representative at this year's All-Star game. Let's get our 4 selections right now. Chabot, Tkachuk, Norris, Formanton, or Stützle, or Formanton, or what do you think there?
Well, I think we got to take Chabot out because it's not likely that he's going to be brought along if they already have all their
people are going to lose it when they read a poll of that nature and it doesn't have Thomas Chabot.
True, classic poll for us, eh? People don't work the poll; they just look at an omission and get upset about that. Getting mad at polls, the cousin of getting mad at lists. But no, we can throw it on there to appease to those people. I would say that's your group there: Tkachuk, Norris, Formanton, Chabot. Sure.
All right, go have your say, and we'll discuss that on tomorrow's Locked On Senators. Finally, before we go, as it should be, lots of airtime spent on Drake Batherson's injury, but Dylan Gambrell also out. Which of the 2 taxi squad members right now do you A, hope, and B, expect to replace him between Clark Bishop or Mark Kastelik?
Well, we're big Kastelik guys. He's been on the show. We love big, strong WHL type players. That's definitely our style of game. But I think you got to look at Clark Bishop here. Give him another look. It's a revenge game. He's from the Carolina Hurricanes, so definitely let him have a piece of that revenge slice. And he's another guy that maybe you want to showcase a little, see if a contending team will toss a late pick to try to acquire some depth further forward. So I would say Clark Bishop is the guy. But it'd be nice to get Kastelik in a game here. He's been sitting out, hasn't played with Belleville because they haven't played for a while, and he's just been on a taxi squad here. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Kastelik, but I would go Bishop because you want NHL experience too. Not that Bishop is like a savvy vet or anything, but with 2 more injuries in Gambrell and Batherson, some guys that have a little more NHL experience, you want to get some veteran inclusion in there. So I would go Bishop personally.
All right, we'll see tomorrow, and we'll break it all down as the Ottawa Senators return to the practice ice tomorrow. Maybe we'll know what the punishment is for Aaron Dell. I think the best punishment would be give him an AHL salary, but make him play as a starter for the rest of the year in the National Hockey League. Really
give him an East Coast salary. Jeez.
Yeah, well, he's seen it before. This is an undrafted guy who worked his way up from the East Coast League, but he's going to find himself right back down there if he continues Bush League moves like the one he pulled on Drake Batherson, who's out long-term with an ankle injury. We might have more of an update on that in the next couple days as well. So stay locked on Senators. Wherever you download your podcast, you can subscribe, like, comment, do all those things. They do really help the algorithm and what we're trying to do here on the show. And again, awesome for people coming in. Pillsy, how much fun is the postcast? Like, I enjoy it so much, man. There's going to be some time where one of us has a conflict and can't make it, but the way the schedule's worked out has been unbelievable so far.
Yeah, we've been able to hit most postcasts here. Yeah, I can't think of one we've missed. Yeah, true, exactly. So that's been awesome, and we appreciate you guys joining the postcat. The chat was absolutely on fire. We even had a couple jokes at Ross's expense. The vibes are there. It's just a chance to relish in the victories and wallow in the sorrows if you want. It's a safe space for Sens fans to come together, and we welcome you. And we encourage you to join, like, and subscribe, and be ready for the postcast, usually 10 or 15 minutes after the game, because we love doing it, and especially when our buddy Laleem's Martian comes along.
Absolutely. Go hit Laleem's Martian with a follow on Twitter, guys. An absolute beauty. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing my palm tree shirt, 0 degrees in Winnipeg today, so I'm going to go get some tanning in. Hope everyone has a great day as well. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.